So what difference does elevation make around the greens? I think there's some pretty basic rules of thumb we can use in that, if the green is below you, the ball's going to come in a little bit steeper. The green's above you, it's going to come in a little bit flatter, a bit shallower and roll out a little bit more. But how much? We're going to try and quantify that a little bit today by comparing shots on the flat, so like a surface at the same level to you, to something above, something below, but also at different distances. Does that factor in? Is a shorter shot that's 3 feet above you behave differently to a shot that's a bit longer than 3 feet above you? Conversely, below, shorter versus longer, what changes? And how can you strategize the best to deal with the challenges? So here we are at the top corner of the green, just going to hit some kind of stock shots, going to observe where they pitch, how much rollout I get, maybe with a 5-yard carry and then a 10-yard carry. Just got a baseline to work off when we start to throw elevation into the mix. Okay, so observing where these are landing and try and be pretty consistent. Okay, so there's very small pitch marks coming up, which is great. It's going to help me pace these out. Now just popped a little bit, but released a bit more, a little bit less spin, so that's fine. Popped up again, rolled out some more. Okay, let's take a quick look. It's going to be right around here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's take the median. That's about a 15-foot rollout, okay. So let's go second set, going to carry this a bit further. It might go out of camera shot, but there's only so wide that I can go with it. So I'm going to try and carry these pretty much to those golf balls. Okay, so there's a bit more stopping power there. You can see that started to dig its heels in a little bit. So as the speed starts to go up, the spin starts to ramp up. So that was a touch chunky, but it's only a couple of feet away. Not too bad. That's pretty good. And again, we'll take the median of these. Ballpark middle, oh, thinned it. So we can discard that one. Popped up a little bit, shouldn't spin a little. Oh, wow, okay, that hit a pitch mark. Discard that one too. Okay, so about 15 feet of rollout on the first one. It's gone right into this old pitch mark. I'm going right about here. 1, 2, 3, 9 feet of rollout for the stock shot. So the carry got longer, but the rollout got shorter. Okay, that's important to note. Let's move on to something that's above me. So we'll find some fairway, find something that's a few feet above, and we'll do a comparison. All right, so you can see the green is above me. These 5 are going to be just on, about 5 steps, pretty similar to that shot. The line might be just a little bit more sandy, but hopefully that doesn't make too much difference. Okay, so that pitch just on, so about perfect. Pretty similar. Very similar, in fact. Oh, just caught the fringe. Just on. Ah, under hit, so we can disregard that one. Let's take a look at these before I do the next 5. So remember, it's 15 feet on the level, so they were landing, let's say, just on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay, 9 steps. 9 times 3, 27 feet. So that's almost doubled with, let's say, 5 feet of elevation. Let's see what happens when we go to slightly longer carry. So we're trying to get more to a 10 step kind of carry. It's going to bring me back pretty much to the limit of the space that I have. And we carry this a little bit further on. I'm maybe 3 steps back, so we couple onto the green. Stock shot again. A little bit too far on. Not gonna be able to pace that one very easily, am I? Better. Okay, I can just about see where that's landing. I'm dealing with pretty much the same elevation, maybe even a fraction more than the shorter shot. It's a good couple of steps on. Hopefully these are all coming in kind of similar. Certainly rolling out consistently anyway. Oh, under hit slightly. Maybe now, still rolled on quite a bit. Okay, so I'm going to estimate there's maybe a couple of pitch marks in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the middle, 27 feet again. So unlike the first set where the shots are on a level, there's not a distinct difference between group of 5 and group of 5. It's a tiny sample, I know, but they were pretty consistent. Maybe the last ball wasn't quite there, but that was a decent effort. Okay, so we're definitely looking at a doubling in rollout for sure for the closer one, and then the longer one was actually closer on triple. In fact, 9 feet, it was triple. So triple the rollout when I was going a longer distance, double from the shorter. Let's see what happens when we're going downhill. Okay, we're going to go downhill. So you can see if I land this just at the bottom of the downslope here, it's about 5 steps. We can trace the rollout. Other set of balls about 5 steps away. This time they are on camera. Rookie error, can't refilm it, it's done. Stock shot, again, just trying to get my carry correct. We're going to see how much rollout results. Okay, so I can see the pitch mark on that one pretty nicely. There is a little bit of rain coming down, which isn't going to help me. Very, very well drained green, this one, so that little bit of rain, it's not going to soften things up a great deal. Hopefully I'm pretty much hitting the spot over and over again. That looks pretty close. Tight group. Oh, that's carried a little further, but grabbed. That's fine, let's take a quick look. You can see the pitch marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, so 12. First time around was I 15? Was it 15? Yeah, I think there's a nice little reduction there. Only 3 feet though, so it's not like it's halved. Obviously going up it doubled. This way it's halved. The elevation might not be quite the same, a little bit less, but enough to make a difference. Let's go to the 10-yard shot. That's a scientific method. This ain't perfect, but it's just to give you an idea of what happens. So on a 10-yard carry, just over 10, I think, just to get slightly onto the land or the flat spot. Run out, remember, was shorter on the flat, pretty much doubled when it was on the up. So I've got to keep things stock, try and hit my carries. Just hit that ball, but I got the pitch mark, it was slowing down quite a bit. See if we can hit that spot again. I'm gonna aim a little bit left because I've pitched those within inches of each other, and they're both caught another golf ball. So let's bring the aim to the left a touch. That was nicely struck. Okay, released out a little bit. That one popped a touch. It's definitely far enough left, released out. Poor strike. May have to describe that one as an outlier. Similar spot again, so I've got my eye on the spots. Take a stroll down, the rain is coming down a bit more now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Outlier over there. It's going to be about 12. So somewhat strangely, that released out more than the same length of carry on the flat. Now, different part of the green, maybe behaving a little bit softer up there than down here. Now, that could certainly be a factor. But I think what I've taken from that, first of all, is that there is less of an effect going down than there is going up, which would make sense. I don't think the land angle really increases or steepens that much when it's below, because you're already quite a long way on the descent, so the curve is not changing rapidly. Whereas when it's above you, you're getting quite near the peak of the flight a lot of the time. So I feel like you lose a lot more, everything not being a perfect curve. Right, so where does that brief experiment, which wasn't that scientific, but you know, we do what we can, where does that leave us? Well, observations. Rollout being slightly shorter on longer shots on the level. That would make sense, right? Ball spins more, you got more club speed, you get more friction, blah, blah, blah. Spin rate goes up, stops quicker, comes in at kind of a similar land angle. Now, when the ball was above, obviously the rollouts increased a lot, doubled on one, tripled on the other. So that's an issue to deal with. But if we compare that to downhill, the change wasn't that great. And the outcomes are actually quite similar regardless of length of shot. Now, why might that be? Well, let's look at that and say, when a ball's descending, okay, the curve of the flight is not like a rainbow. Now, it reaches a peak and it drops at a steeper angle than it really climbed most of the time. So considering it's already dropping at a relatively steep angle, there's not that much of an increase when the ball, or the ground, sorry, is below the level you're playing it from. Now, conversely, when the ground is above you, you're bringing things back much closer to the peak of the flight. Now, what that means is that there is quite a dramatic change, as you could see, in the land angle of the golf ball. Now, the effects of it was surprisingly dramatic on the shorter carry, as in double. Going forward with that, what this suggests is that, yeah, everything holds true. Ground below you, ball does stop a bit quicker, though it didn't on one of them. When the ground is above you, it takes a lot longer to stop. But the most dramatic was obviously when the ground is above, and that's what we should pay the most attention to because it will require the biggest change. The difference wasn't hugely significant with the ground below, so you can play it pretty much as normal. Unless it is 10, 15, 20 feet below you, then we're talking about something different, but it's 5, 6 feet below, not massive. But we take that same increase and put it above, huge difference. What if we go with double that elevation at that kind of carry? Suddenly the ball's coming in incredibly flat. So you need to pay much more attention to the ground being above you. Now, what are the suggestions to take from that? Well, work on higher flighted shots, of course, as you always should. But when you practice and you get the opportunity to practice at elevation, start to have a look at how much carry and rollout you're getting for your shot from the flat compared to a higher trajectory launch, say a mid-high or a high, to a green above you. Because suddenly you can start to look at it and say, right, if I want this ball to roll out like a middle flighted shot, how much higher do I need to go to achieve that? Or if I'm going to play this on a mid-flight shot, how is it going to behave? Is it going to behave like a mid-low? Is it going to behave like a really low runner? And start to make those connections. Because then you can strategize better and say, the green's 5 feet above me. If I play this just a little bit higher than stock, I'll get a stock rollout. If it's 10 feet above me, if I play it like a really high shot, it's going to come out like a stock rollout. And you can start to put those tools into your toolbox. Okay, very, very poor experiment, hopefully of some interest. Hopefully you can take from it that elevation does matter, but one of them is crucial to understand.